Judy, I had to come up with something fast. I had to, like, my brain was on.
It's time for science. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Hi, Gio, Anna. Hi, Serge. Hi, Jasvir and Achilles. So we've been talking about things that happen in the fall and winter. We're gonna switch now and talk about critters in the fall and winter. That's animals, mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, fish. We're gonna talk about all those things because they change how they live in the fall and winter. And we're gonna study about that. So the first thing we're gonna learn about is hibernation. Hibernation. There are animals that cannot live in the winter outside of hibernation. They can't find food, they can't keep warm. So what they do is they eat before winter comes. They eat a lot, they put on a lot of body fat, and they hibernate. That means they sleep all winter long. All winter long. Wouldn't that be nice? So we're gonna look at some of the animals that hibernate. This is called Who is Hibernating? Who is hibernating? What's this guy? What is he? Can somebody tell me? Pull out your book. Number 15. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that. Number 15, dated today, 10/21. Who is hibernating? The bear is hibernating. Where does the bear sleep? Where does he sleep? He sleeps in what we call a den. Sometimes it's a cave, under rocks, under piles of logs. He sleeps in a den. The bat is hibernating. Where does the bat sleep? The bat sleeps in a cave. He hangs upside down and goes to sleep all winter long. The frog is hibernating. Where does the frog sleep? Where do you think he sleeps? In the mud. How would you like to sleep in the mud all winter long? I think not. The groundhog is hibernating. Where does the groundhog sleep? Wow, I'm not very fortunate today. In a burrow. Burrows are under logs or rocks, just a little kind of hole with an opening. He gets nice and cozy in there. The snake is hibernating. Where does the snake sleep? Where does the snake sleep? In a hole. In a hole. He sleeps in a hole. The chipmunk is sleeping. I'm hibernating, sorry. Where does the chipmunk sleep? He sleeps in a nest. He makes a nest, maybe in the hole of a tree, maybe in the ground. Chipmunk's sleeping. So we're going to be talking a lot about hibernation for a little while. I'm going to read you a book, kind of about what animals do in the winter. This is called The Mitten. Some of you know this book. It's written by Jan Brett. She also drew these awesome pictures in this book. The Mitten. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. He wanted mittens made of white. At first his grandma Baba did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. Because she's a grandma, she gave in. She did what he wanted. She made him white mittens. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, and then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went. And it wasn't long until one of his mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Just like Grandma warned. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. He climbed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. So that mole, he climbed inside. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, his feet, he moved over. So there they are, both of them in the mitten. A rabbit and a mole. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. A hedgehog is kind of like a porcupine. He has short little quills though. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit went bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. So there they are, the hedgehog, the rabbit, and the mole, all in the mitten. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, his claws on his feet, they quickly let him in. They decided not to argue with him. So now you got 4 in there. Up through the snow appeared a badger. There he is. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, and when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. His diggers, his claws. They let him in. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in the mitten. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. Long but good. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with the bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Baba's grandma. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wiggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Look at that. Look at them all crowded in there. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah-choo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up in the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Look at them flying all over. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten, silhouetted against the blue sky. It's up in the air from the sneeze. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window, his grandma. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens.
No.
Read the kiddos a book.
No.
And you're reading books too.
So there's Baba, grandma, and she's glad that Nicky's safe and sound, and he still has his mittens. That was a good story. A really good story. Some of these animals that climbed in here hibernate. Some just want to grow thicker hair and eat more. Some move. We're going to study all about that in the next couple weeks about animals. So let's go over again. Who hibernates? Bears.
All right, you know what? Bears, and there was a bear in the story.
Bears hibernate. There he is. In a den. Bats hibernate. There was no bat in that story. Bats hibernate upside down. They sleep all winter long in a cave. Frogs hibernate. Frogs.
No frog in this story.
These frogs hibernate in the mud. Doesn't sound pleasant to me, but I guess it is to them. This is a groundhog. A groundhog. Kind of like a squirrel.
Is it kind of like this guy?
Yeah,
Like him?
that's a mole.
Oh, that's a mole. All right.
That's a mole. But that's all right. I think they're related, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He sleeps in a burrow. Yep. He sleeps in a burrow. A little opening under rocks or logs. Anyway, we have a break now for 10 minutes.
10, 15, 10,
25.
25.
Till 10:25. Go get something to eat, get a drink, go to the restroom, and we'll see you back at 10:20.